is Parshas Vayeitzeh. Yaakov is running away from Esav. He's heading towards Lavan. Agav, he stopped off in yeshiva for a whole bunch of years to sit and learn V'Shem Ve'ever. You know, the yeshiva. They say that it's in Tzvas. I sat in a shul that they called yeshiva Shem Ve'ever in Tzvas. Maybe that's where it was. Anyway, and then they finally, the first night he's spending out of yeshiva, and he gets a good night's sleep. Right? You can't sleep when you're in yeshiva. I mean, how could you fall asleep? He falls asleep and he has this dream of the ladder going up and down. And the pasuk says, "V'hine Hashem nitzav olav." Hashem was standing over him. You have to ask. I mean, Hashem wasn't standing over him before, after. So this is a line we say every night before we go to sleep. All right, we say that there's a malach on the right and the left and the front and the back. Over here it says Hashem was standing over him, like on guard, right over him. Why suddenly now Hashem needed this big shmirah? So this is part of the Vort of what was going on with these malachim. As Yaakov was leaving Eretz Yisrael, there's a change of shift. In the malachim that are zoicha to take care of the Yidden and Klal Yisrael, they don't spend time in Chutz La'aretz. There's a Safek Tumah everywhere. No, there's this whole totally separate set of malachim in Chutz La'aretz. And Rabbi Kellerman says that if you're flying into Ben Gurion, or out of Ben Gurion, you listen very, very carefully, you can hear the pitter-patter of the malachim running on and running off, switching shift. You hear the Eretz Yisrael malachim coming on as you're heading into Tel Aviv, even in Tel Aviv, yeah. And you can hear the Eretz Yisrael, the Chutz La'aretz malachim running off the plane. Yaakov Avinu had the malachim running up, his Eretz Yisrael malachim were going up, and he had a new shift coming down to escort him in Chutz La'aretz. During the change of shift, the Bnei Shalom said, "My Yaakov Avinu, he's fully boiteach in me. He's sleeping out in the wilderness. There's no malachim. He doesn't have Yiminim Yichelm Smelek That isn't enough without the malachim. He has an extra amida of the Bnei Shalom." And Rabbi Kaller explains that the Bnei Shalom was looking out for Yaakov every step of the way. And the Bnei Shalom knew that there was a Leah and a Rachel that were both going to be Imois, and they were both going to marry Leah. And he gave Yaakov this sixth sense. Yaakov wasn't in tune. You can imagine, like you would think when you go through just a story of Lavan swapping out wives, like that's something you should chap. You know, there's a Ma'aser Ramosha Feinstein got a shaila that they had the wrong kala under the chuppah. Sure, these things do happen, but like, how did Yaakov not chap? Elamai, Yaakov realized that night, the girl under the chuppah with him was supposed to be his wife, was supposed to be one of the imais. Game over. It's true. It wasn't the one that he thought. It wasn't Rachel, but it was Leah. His sense told him that the Rebbeinu Shalom set it up, and it was a setup. He set up the setup so that Yaakov would be able to get that. The Rebbeinu Shalom looks after anyone who's, you go with Derech Yashav Aratzon, and the Rebbeinu Shalom takes care of us. There was a flight leaving Ben Gurion, and there was a minion of Chaver that were waiting, and before the flight took off, they'd be davening outside, and the flight was taking off soon, but they needed to daven before. The timeline gets complicated, so as they're going through their davening, suddenly, and the flight is ready, the doors are closing, warning, the doors are already closed, if you come now, we'll still open it for you, but you better go now, and they're still davening, so they're middle of Shemana Esrei. So quickly they finished up, yalla, and there was one Rav who was there, and he runs over to the gate and says, can I get in? He said, yes. But we're mamash closing now. He looks back and he sees that there's a girl who's still down in Shemana Esrei. He tells the lady by the gate, maybe you could wait a few minutes. So she says, what for? There's a girl davening, Amidah. She said, okay, let's see. She goes, talks to the pilots. The pilots say, look, there's only so long we can wait. We're not the only flight in the whole, there's a whole system here and we can't just stall. We'll see what we can do. It gives them 2-3 minutes, but at a certain point, they said, they close the door. And the girl, middle of her Shemana Esrei, it's a long Shemana Esrei, 10-12 minutes. And that's it. Everyone sits down, buckle up. They're just sitting there. Flight's not taking off. Chabal, the girl can get on. What happens? No announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, we were smelling some smoke, an electrical smell. Everyone off the plane. Place gets off. The girl finishes her Shemana Esrei. The stewardess, the steward from on the plane says, what was this whole balagan? we're stalling, and the rabbi explained that there was a girl who was davening Shemona Esrei. I said, okay, like, yeah, but the flight was taking off. The rabbi said, I know you're religious, but you could appreciate the idea that this girl's tefillah is real. When you're having a real conversation with Hashem, you don't, when you're actually talking to Hashem, nothing takes precedence. Nothing. And he was very impressed with the idea. And the rabbi said, when we get to our destination, I'm going to this Shabbaton or convention. It's very gshmak. You're more than welcome to join. And this guy said, no, why not? And he actually got the steward to come along with him on the Shabbaton. The kitcher, this guy became from. Murder story. Went to the Shabbaton, went to learn yeshiva. The rabbi back in the airport was talking to the girl, and he said, Lamaisa, you pretty much missed the flight. And she says, yeah, no, but I didn't. He said, the Baruch taking care of me. She said, I've been looking for a shidduch for a very long time, and I made a commitment that when I'm davening, I'm davening. And I knew the flight was taking off. I'm not like one of those gedolim who was like totally oblivious. The Chazanish, like they had to literally lift him off the ground to snap him out of his Shemona Esrei trance. She said, I knew, but I was committed to my tefillah, and if I missed the flight, I missed the flight. But I didn't miss the flight. Hashem's got my back. The Kitzer, this guy who went to the Shabbaton, he frums out, goes to yeshiva, becomes a wonderful, beautiful Ben Torah and Erlich Yid. And when he's setting the Shadchan sets him up with this girl. It's the girl who's davening Shemona Esrei in the airport. Vina Hashem Nitzav, no? We should always say to see Nisim Gluyim in our lives. Not that now we ask for them, not that we should need them, but we should see the Yad Hashem and everything and see how everything that's happening in our life is actually in His glory. Vina Hashem Nitzav Meloi Chalaretz Gevavoidai V'mamid Alo V'v'chin Kilayos V'alev V'yivinav Davrikaram V'avoy V'hine Hashem Nitzav Olav Meloi Chalaret Kifayinai Mamid Alov Uvoichin Kelayos Valev Imab Dawekar Avavoy Good Shabbos.